Hello, dear friends. Welcome to the show, Jack Chow on East West with G&E TV. Joining me today, once again, my good friend, Dr. Gu, Lingyun Gu. And, it is amazing that he is so much involved with the investment business. Speaking investment, that's the only part that I'm in huge lack of. I don't know nothing about it anyway. And I know that he is just back from China with a successful business trip, and he's flying back again to China for, another month or two or something. Yeah. So I really can't help trying to share something with my audience about your experiences in China in the term of investment.
Okay. Actually, like in China, it's pretty interesting because currently, well, I won't say currently, probably over the past 30 years, China has been the focus of the entire world. But of course, the focus in China has been shifted a little bit from politics to economy, from economy to human rights, from human rights to environmental protection, to different type of topics. But for me, because currently I'm in finance, so basically speaking, for my business trip, every time go back to China, to Europe, or to different countries, primarily I just for financial industry, for different things. And people always ask me, what are you doing? Well, like for a lot of people,
what are
it's
you doing?
yes, for a lot of people, it's a very simple question. But for me, it's a little bit complicated because for me, at least I have two hats. And sometimes I put my entrepreneur hat on my head, and I'm the owner of a finance company, and we are doing big data, use big data technology, machine learning, to evaluate and generate credit scores for individual and small business. But on the other side, I'm also the EIR, the entrepreneur in residence, and the investment advisor with Excel and IDG Capital. And these are actually two independent companies. Excel is a very famous venture capital in US, and IDG is the most famous venture capital in China, and it is also the first venture capital in China, and no second one is so close to it. And so for me, most of the time when I deal with different type of deals, either I put my entrepreneur hat on and I deal with those customers and try to get a business for my company.
I see.
But on the other side, sometimes I also put my investor hat on and talk to those entrepreneurs similar like me, and they are looking for capital, and they have brilliant ideas. And I want to put money, represent on behalf of Excel and IDG, help them to grow and also get great and return for the company. So pretty much that's what I'm doing. I cannot use 30 seconds to do an executive summary.
I'm totally benighted in the whole area.
No,
when I started, I was in the dark. So after hearing your statement, your explanation, I'm still in the dark, the same kind of dark. To me, the only way that can make matters understood is that, are they buying anything? Where the money come from?
I see.
Yeah, those are the two
Sure.
things. Yeah.
Okay. Again, I will just put things into two different categories. First, let's talk about the entrepreneurship. For people, they want to start their own company.
In the United States
in
or
United
in China?
States or in
the
China.
United States.
Pretty much the principle is the
I
same.
see.
Yes. So in general, if you want to start your own business first, well, a lot of people think about the first you should have an idea or you have a business model. I would say no, it's wrong. First, you should have your own team, your network.
Team of doing what?
That's right.
Yeah.
Team doing what is not important. Like I can give you one example. If I can have Isaac Newton, I have Albert Einstein work for me together, I don't care what business model. If I have these two persons join me at the same time, and pretty much we can do a lot of things in a very successful way with high successful possibility. So yes, you are right. We cannot only rely on team. We should also have a focus, a direction. But compared to business model, a team a very successful, experienced team is the most important thing.
Well, it looks to me that you got to know you got to decide what to do before you form up a team.
You are right.
Not exactly that after you get a team, you started thinking about
It's
what you
mingled
want to do,
together.
right?
It's mingled together in general. You cannot come up with an idea. You say, this idea is great, and I need to find someone work with me together, and then we form a business. That's a way to achieve to that case. But most likely, it would be like something like that. You know a lot of friends, and you share the common grounds, and you share the interest with them, and you also have pretty similar or complementary background to each other, and you know, and some direction is interesting, and you all know this direction is interesting, but just the lack of a leadership, who should be the number one to run the company, and then you say, oh, why shouldn't we just get together to do a business? So that's pretty much the most successful way for people to get together.
Okay.
Yes.
So back to the point of my question, are they buying anything from us in the United States?
Yes. So let me answer you this question. To start a business, and in general, we talk about in a lot of different categories, and you can do high tech, like Facebook or Google. Do they buy something? Yes. Do they buy something materially? No, because it's a software industry. They provide a service to you, and they also buy something intelligence. That's the things they buy. It's not necessarily some raw material. And back to your question before, for the team or for the business model, most likely, if you look at those companies with very successful track record, like Facebook or Google, do they have a team first or do they have a business model first? I would say pretty much they come at the same time, but a team come a little bit earlier. Like for the Google founder, for the Sergey Brin or for Larry Page, and they were enrolled in the the CS PhD program at Stanford. And they know what they do for the search would be booming. And then they form a team and get money from VC and do something. But back to your question, yes, they will provide some service, but in order to provide the service, they need some money injected into the business first. Otherwise, they cannot grow the scaling, and they cannot do the marketing, they cannot reach out to the most of the population.
I still don't understand how people can get a team first without knowing what to do.
Oh, I see.
What kind of team
Yeah,
you're talking
we
about?
cannot
Among my friends, for example, 100 of them, I have 5 doctors, 11 dancers, 2 singers, and all kinds of people together forms my friend, as a circle of friends for 100. Let me put together a team. A team of doing what?
I see.
Team of dancing?
Okay.
Team of singing? Well,
yeah. Let me address you this question. So yeah, in general, you have a team and you have a business model. These two things are not directly contradicting to each other. And on the other side, these two should be complementary to each other. But when I talk about the first priority is for team, second priority is for business model, it's just a priority. Doesn't necessarily mean this one can just exist by itself without the supporting of the business model. That cannot be true.
Oh, yeah. Just to answer my question, because I'm so benighted and so naive in this whole area. And the Starbucks too. Okay, just to take me for example, me and my 100 friends.
Okay.
So we're a team of 101, and we're talents for all kinds of different areas.
Right.
What do we do?
Okay, so yeah, that's a good example. Yes, you have a group of intelligent people, and you are friends already.
All right.
And you hang out all the time. You have lunch, dinner, and you have party and the karaoke all together.
Yeah, all right.
Yeah, in that case, a lot of you guys, for every single discussion you have, and probably you already know, oh, probably we think there are a bunch of things we can do. For example, can we just get a P2P business like Airbnb? And some friends
What
say,
is P2P?
Oh, P2P means peer-to-peer. So that means
peer-to-peer.
Peer-to-peer. That means if you have some resource and you cannot just use it in a very efficient way, and you try to share this resource with other people, and the other people on the other side of the marketplace is another peer. So when you say peer-to-peer, we can say peer-to-peer lending. That's the lending club. That's Prosper at the United States. And then that's peer-to-peer house sharing. That's Airbnb. And that's peer-to-peer cab service. That's Uber. So when we say peer-to-peer, it's involved in different type of business.
Are you talking about barter trading?
No, it's different.
No.
Yeah, peer-to-peer in general is in principle, and that's with the growth of economy and more people, and they have a strong desire to have a better life. However, the increasing population and the limited of resource, they are always contradicting to each other. Then is there any better way to let the increasing population to enjoy a better quality of life without put too much burden for the earth or for the resource? Yes, the answer is sharing. But how do you do the sharing? At the very beginning, if you want to go to Malibu or you go to San Diego, and the most efficient way is you just go online, Expedia or like Orbitz.com, and you book a room from hotel. That is a good way? No. For example, I have several houses in Los Angeles. Of course, we only have a family of 3, only me, my wife, and my daughter, and we cannot live in all this house. So what should we do? Probably I can put my house on Airbnb. And for some other visitors from outside of the country or outside of the state, I say, okay, that's my house. It's not a hotel, but if you pay me $150 per night, and you can live there for 9 days or 10 days, and then it's good for you to go. And that's the same thing. Like if I buy another property in Hawaii, I want to spend my 12 months.
But it also raises other issues such as the taxation.
Yes.
If I pay you $150 for a night, though, do you pay your tax?
Yes, of course. And Airbnb has already solved all this problem. And not only this, it's not only tax. If some bad guy and live in your house and have a big party and destroy everything, who is going to be responsible for?
And you have insurance business.
Yes, they also do this insurance. They have
Sounds
everything.
Interesting. Let's take a short moment out. When we come back, we'll find out exactly. I don't know if we're going back to the early stage of human civilization. I don't know. Let's check about it. So stay with us. Hello, dear folks. Welcome back to the show. Jack Chow on the East-West Show with G&E TV, doing my day-to-day job all my life, however, entering into something that I never knew anything about. And I still don't know. I don't know anything about this whole area. To me, I just know how to put words together.
That's already the most
how
important
to
thing.
express yourself when you're happy, how to express yourself when you're not happy or something like that. Right. With my good friend, Dr. Leng Yun Go, we're checking about the fact about his involvement in business, literally money business, which is a total strange area to me. And we came to a point, I find myself under the impression about we're going back, if we follow his trend though, we're going back to the early stage of human trading, right? You actually talking about trade. Right?
This is just one type of the investment business.
For example, you have a house to
Yes.
rent, right?
Yes.
I'm selling pianos,
Yes.
right? And I'm traveling from New York to you
Yes.
to stay in the house for $150.
Right.
Right? You have a value there. So, and then a friend of mine needs a piano,
Yes.
and he is probably doing painting,
Right.
doing doors in the interior painting, for example.
Right.
Right. And your house needs an interior painting. Right. He can do it for you, but he needs my piano, and I pay you for the $150.
Right.
And well, so let's do all the trade. It looks to me that we're going back to the barter trading business
Yes or no?
time.
Yes or no? Because the reason is when we talk about the P2P business, no matter what, no matter for the P2P lending or for P2P sharing, whatever, the most important thing I would say yes, trading is important or exchanging is important. But more important, the point here is you have something, you do not use the resource in the most efficient way. And
Yes.
currently the P2P help people to reallocate the resource in a more efficient way, to let each of the party on totally different side of the marketplace can enjoy the increased quality of the life. That's the most important. Now back to my case. Like for example, if I have a house in Hawaii and I know like I only probably maximally spend 6 weeks in Hawaii, that's already the longest. I even couldn't like just imagine I can spend 6 weeks in Hawaii. But for the rest of the year, the house, if you purchased
It's
it,
empty.
are you going to leave it empty? That's definitely not the best way to use the house.
You wanna
Then of
rent it,
course,
yeah,
yes,
rent it out,
you can
yeah.
rent it out for other people. But previously, how do you do it? And probably you don't have a marketplace to do it. So probably you send an email to your friend, or probably you just post an ad or on local newspaper, and that's it. And now Airbnb, Uber, or Landing Club, all these different type we call marketplace, and they don't do anything to have their own property and on the marketplace. What they do is they just give you a marketplace, a platform, and connect the people they have the resource and the people need the resource. And from the totally
And
different
you pay
side too.
fees.
I pay fee to the Airbnb, and the people also pay fee to Airbnb. And the same for Uber, for the rental car sharing, that's the same thing. But not necessarily both sides to pay the fee. At least one side will pay the fee. Right? Like for the lending club and for investor, and they pay some fee. And for the borrower, they also pay some fee. But that's not necessary. And maybe another marketplace, only investor pay the fee, but not the borrower. That's also
I heard something about somebody going to New York, driving his own car to the airport, and he posted something, say, hey, I'm going to the airport tomorrow, and we'll park the car there for 7 days.
Yeah. Can someone share with me the
Somebody
cost?
share with me. Anybody doing the same pattern? Oh yeah, there might be someone.
Yes.
Right? So that kind of thing. My question is that for the guy, if he grab a taxi, he will have to pay $60.
Yes.
Right? If he shares the ride, he pays the guy like $30, for
Exactly.
example. Right?
That's right.
Okay. Now, it's a reduction for the cost of the traveling.
Yes.
Right, that's the benefit of it.
Exactly.
But the guy who is paid $30 as a driver, does he do his tax?
Yes. That's
How
right.
does he? How can you expect him to do it? You don't want to do it to rely on
Don't
him.
worry about that.
That he will do it voluntarily.
No, it won't. I give you another example. Like previously, what I've talked about is the P2P house sharing. That's Airbnb. Now your example talk to the P2P, the rental car or the private car sharing, and that will be 2 companies currently, and in the investment industry is very hot. The first one is called Uber, U-B-E-R. The second one is called Lyft, L-Y-F-T. And these 2 companies, what they do is exactly what you said. However, how to avoid the abuse of the taxation? For every single driver and they register on Uber, you cannot directly take a payment from the rider. So you register your credit card and all your bank account information with Uber. So when the passenger, they pay the money, they do not pay the money direct to you. They pay the money to Uber, and Uber transfers the money to your bank account. And they take 2 things. Number one, and they take the carry or the service fee, and Uber want to put in its own pocket. And at the same time, they also report this as your personal income to IRS.
Yeah.
So definitely you cannot avoid
I know, you're
it.
talking about the most idealistic state.
Yes.
I'm talking about people doing the free post.
Oh, for free post, that's another different
They do the
business.
free post.
No.
Right?
You
They're taking a chunk from the U.S. economy.
Yes.
That's what I'm concerned.
Yeah,
okay?
but that's
now,
it's
for
different
example,
business.
just to use the ride,
Yes.
the airport ride, for example. I do it. I post up one thing. I get one rider share the ride with me, which is mutual benefit. Okay, I didn't get my car to sit there for nothing.
Yes.
And he doesn't have to pay $60, and I get $30.
Right.
So I never report my tax. So that is the chunk taken away from the U.S. economy.
That's right. Yeah.
And it's getting more and more.
Not necessarily.
You can't tell me this is the only thing. I'm just making an example myself.
Not necessarily it can get more and more popular. The reason is because that's also the reason why Uber and Lyft, they can be such a popular platform. Because if we go back to the way you mentioned, I only use my own personal resource, try to contact the people, and they probably share the same need. We want to go to LAX at the same time.
Okay.
You cannot find too many people. It's very limited. You have to go to a very popular platform or marketplace, find people. However, if you want to do that, then of course, these platforms are already regulated and they already connect with IRS. So your concern will be gone. But again, like I agree with you, I think for people, they just do something on the ground or beneath the table.
Of course,
and of course, this situation always exists, and you do not have a very nice or optimized way to eliminate this 100%.
But at least the concept provided the practicality of doing it. Right?
Yes, that's right.
So
of
that's
course,
one thing.
I agree with you.
Okay.
Yeah.
I ask this question only to try to understand your side of the coin, right?
Yes.
Because your side of the world, which is your side of the world is total.
Well, that's a very interesting question. I'm really happy like we can discuss this.
All right, so much said. Let's take a short moment now. When we come back, I still need to dig in to find more, please. I really need education. Hello, dear folks. Welcome back to the show, talking about financing, talking about business, doing business, making money. But I know nothing about the whole area, but I still feel it's my obligation to bring the info to you. Let the speaker speak.
Okay.
I be the MC.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, to continue our discussion, and we were talking about the biggest difference between China and the US. How do we do the investment? Of course, that's my biased personal view. But to me, in US, if you want to invest a company, and that company should at least be driven by the technology, by the cool technologies, like Facebook, like Google, and like 10 years ago, Cisco, a lot of different companies, and currently Tesla, and a lot of companies, they were driven by very cool technologies in different aspects. However, if you go back to China, that doesn't mean I do not pay any respect to the engineers and those people with the high technology background. However, in China, if you want to do business, and I would say the business model is more important than the technology. So you should invest to those companies with a very good business model, cover a lot of people with a large population, but not necessarily with a very cool technology. And the reason is very simple. And in China, of course, I have to say the situation has been changed and been better over the past 30 years. At the very beginning, people probably they were ignorant of the IP, the intellectual property, and they pay probably no respect and no attention to that at all. Given that said, if you just
not as much, they're doing now. They're paying a lot of attention now.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, they're
yes.
doing better. But in China, if like you have a very cool technology, like say you have a model, and the model just with maybe thousands or 10,000 of code, and it can generate huge benefit for your company. And in China, 10 years or 15 years ago, usually for a larger company or for a competitor, what they are going to do is simple. Number one, I just ask some people to steal the code for me. And I install all those software on my own computer. And then I can just do the same thing as you do. And over the past 5 or 7 years, it's getting more civilized. And what they do is, oh, I'm not going to steal your code. I'm going to steal your team. I'm not going to buy your company. I will say, okay, I give you $10 million. Yeah, for the team, you join me. Now, it's getting better.
I'll sabotage you.
Now it's getting better. Now people are there respect to each other, and like Baidu or Tencent or Alibaba, we call BAT, B-A-T. B is called the Baidu, and A is called Alibaba, and like the T is called Tencent. And currently they spend billions of dollars of money, and they acquire different companies. This is the best way to show the rest of the China, and we pay respect to IP.
In the whole business concept, I mean, whole two different sets of business though, where do you get in?
Oh, we
Where
actually,
do your expertise get in?
yeah, we specialty actually get into something we call our specialties get into we call the TMT. It's interesting.
TMT.
Yes, TMT means technologies, media, and telecommunications. That is
Technology, media, telecommunication.
telecommunication. That is an old term, but I would say the old dog currently learns new things. The reason because at the very beginning, let's say 20 years ago, what were hot? Telecommunications were hot, right? We talk about Arcot, we talk about the Siemens, and we talk about Lucent, talk about all those very cool technologies, but now they were not cool at all. And media is very hot, right? And also at the same time, technologies were very hot at that time. So we still use the same term, TMT, but now TMT actually covers such a large area. Is Google included? Yes. Is Facebook included? Yes. Is Twitter included? Yes. And is LinkedIn included? Yes. So we actually, TMT covered so many different type of things. And is Goldman Sachs, if they have a new business model included? Yes. So when we say TMT, pretty much we cover O2O, offline to online, online to offline. We cover O2O, and we cover currently online education. We cover the fintech, financial technologies, and we cover finance, and we cover a lot of different type of things.
I still don't get it. When you say you cover, you have the technology, or it's just your concept?
Oh no, this is we have the capital behind us, and we deploy all this money into the startups, and they were included in all these directions.
Are you representing U.S. banks?
Not banks. We actually represent investors.
Investors.
So let me introduce two concepts here. One, we talk about venture capital. Venture capital actually is a group of money and put together. But now, definitely, audience and you will have questions. Who are going to manage the money? Who provide the money to us? So that's the two type of different people. When we talk about the people, they are responsible managing this money, and we call the general partner. We call the GP. And when we talk about who gave money to general partner, to GP, and we call the LP, limited partner. And now back to Excel and back to IDG. Who are managing all these monies? We, including me, my coworker, my colleagues, and our investment managers, our analysts, and all of us manage this money. And who gave money to us? And that's a very different question. I cannot release you explicitly the name of those people.
Yeah, just what kind of people?
But what kind of people?
What kind of people? Individuals?
Yeah, pension fund, pension. Like, for example, so one of the union, or like one of a big state, and they have all those pension. And they need a return. They cannot just put money there and let it sit quietly. Because 30 years later, if you only look at just a very minimum 1% or less than 1% interest rate, it's not going to cover the inflation.
Yeah, they will go.
They need the investment
bank
return.
saving,
Yes. So one way they put money into is they put money into the VC. So usually they put $1 billion, or minimum they put maybe $100 million or something like that. So that's the money come from. So we have the LP give us money, and we also as the GP or partner or investment manager or whatever. So we have a large group of people have different type of the knowledge background. If we talk about investment business, we talk about the financial, I have the background. If we talk about online tutoring, online education, we have people from New Oriental Education and from Xingdongfang, and those people, and they have their expertise to help us to understand the new business model works.
In other words, the investors put the money in your basket.
Yes.
And you're the ones looking for
deploy the money for new deals.
To allocate the money.
Yes.
To allocate the money.
That's right.
Pending your decision or analysis about which is benefitable,
yes,
which is not.
Yes, but we put a lot of
which is profitable, which is not.
Exactly, that's right. So that's another way.
And
of
for
prediction.
that, you have the team.
Yes, we have the team.
Or if you find you need somebody, you can go find this guy.
Yes.
Right, who
We pay people very well, and we also put a lot of money for each of the deal, and we also look for very high and very reasonable return.
Yeah. Do you need me?
Yeah, you're welcome. Absolutely. Now the door is already open to you. Are you going to join us part-time or full-time? I'm joking.
I'm not that expensive. I'm not that expensive. But the point is that I know nothing about your area.
That's not a problem.
You get me for nothing.
No, I don't think so. Like, for VC, this industry, for VC, for PE, for private equity. And the good thing is we only need people who are smart. And we don't need people who only have experience. Of course, we need experienced people, but experience cannot be the only asset of the other people. That's very important.
You need a high IQ.
Exactly. We need the IQ, we need the EQ, we need people who can adapt to the new environment in a very fast way. That's the most important thing. We need the human horsepower.
All right. Anyway, let's take a very short roll now. It looks that I see a little thing through the gap. Like the door is already open anyway, kind of ajar, at least ajar, so I can look inside, take a peek inside. I know, I'll get a little to know about what's going on, better than I started. So let's take a short moment now. When we come back, we'll still keep going, please. Hello, dear friends. Welcome back to the show, Jack Chow on East West Show with G&E TV. Well, strange feeling that's been creating here inside me. Not only I find it interesting talking about things that I know, but I find it interesting to talk about things that I do not even know. In the whole financing area, I'm a baby of 3.5 years old, I would probably say. Yet, by listening to my friend, Dr. Ling Ying Gu, I seems to be seeing a little bit about it, whole area, through a door which is ajar. Never closed, he says it's open, but well, I don't know what's inside, right? Now, questions are in profusion, especially from my side, right? And I believe among my audience, I'm not the only one. So probably there are somebody like me there who might be even worse. Okay, now, when these concepts are expressed, right? So in China or in the United States, what do you look for?
You mean
what target you look for?
I see. And in China and in US, we actually look for totally different directions. First, like when we talk about the venture capital, the VC industry, and we actually have two intensive things. Number one, we are capital intensive, right? We need a lot of money. Like currently for IDG XL, and we manage 3.5 billion US dollars. Oh. Yes, so 3.5 billion, and we are not even the largest. And also, we talk about intelligence intensive. Like I said, I need smart people to work for me so we can look into the deals. We can simply use 40 minutes or maybe 1 hour just for people to do the presentation and then understand, this people is making sense or not. And the business model behind that is making sense or not. So that's too intensive and we are talking about. Now back to your question, what are we looking for? We actually looking for anything. Anything, number one, is socially making sense. That's very important. And we want to make money, but we also want to be social awareness. And we want to be provide benefiting not only to our own pocket, and we want to do something beneficial to the society too. So number one has to be social sense making.
All right, or speaking of that though, I may do a little insertion.
Okay.
Or probably something that you can help look into.
Okay.
See if you can find an answer, or if you can find anybody who might be interested to invest in this concept, whole concept. Okay, problem. Let's talk about problem.
Sure.
It was about 3 years ago. There was a huge convention in LA, downtown LA, when Bill Gates, at that time Stephen Jobs was still active.
Oh, still was still there.
Yeah, and what? And the principal of Taiwan University, and the principal of Beida. The four of them, I believe.
Okay.
If I'm right, four of them were on stage. They were talking about concepts like
Yes.
like you're talking about, and asking questions. I was the first one asking. I said, well, I have a problem. If you, I mean, with your knowledge, with your top of the human wisdom, can that be helped, right? So, question is that when we were little, people our age, when we were little, when we see something printing matter on a piece of paper, as long as it's black and white, as long as it's printed, the matter, the content has been checked several times through several kind of eyes.
Yes, that's right. That's old-fashioned.
And proofreader, second
Of
proof,
course.
third proof, on, and then you have the proofreader. I'm in the final.
Yes.
And then you do everything. Okay. One sentence has go through several eyes, at least 6 or 5 set of eyes.
Yes. Multiple checkpoints.
Yeah, multiple check. So for kids, whoever looking at a piece of paper with the printing information on it, with the information printed on it, we know there might not be number one under heaven by quality, but by standardization, it is the correct, at least
Totally
the correct.
agree. Totally
right?
agree. Yes.
Now, you get on a computer, as long as you have fingers, all you need is probably one finger is enough. Any of those, enough. One is enough.
Right. Yeah.
And you can post any information. You can use any language in any way you want on the internet. So for us, while we know what kind of language, what language is, and then we know what we need, what we do not need. In other words, we can tell right from wrong. For our kids, they are exposed to the ocean of words, of information.
Yes.
Is there a way to make sure those areas are grammatically right?
I
right?
see.
Those areas are rhetorically beautiful, and whatever, just to be responsible to our kids. Can somebody create something, technology, that tells right from wrong, and you, through your group, through your hand, get the money to invest in there to create a new industry? I call it the guard industry. So,
Well,
am I getting too naive?
no, absolutely not. I think like for guarding industry or for like for the parental guidance, and that's definitely a very important industry.
I'm not talking about parental guidance.
Of course, I
about
mean in general.
to protect kids from pornography. I'm not talking about that.
I understand.
I'm talking
Misleading
about
information. or
misleading
something.
information.
Yes, of course.
Misleading grammar, whatever.
Yes. Well, first of all, yeah, absolutely, you are right. So we talk about a concept called information explosion. So there are just so much information, and you don't know which one is correct, which one is not. So it's just a very noisy environment, right? Yeah,
Yes.
you do have essence there,
Yes.
but you also have a lot of garbage there, and you don't want your kids or any people, not necessarily kids,
okay.
even for adults, when
Yeah,
they learn
exactly
new
what I'm talking
information,
about, yes.
they do not want to just learn garbage,
Sure,
and they should
sure.
just get the essence. You're right. So that's the reason currently we have seen a lot of different type of a business, and what they do is they try to comb the information flow. That's a very interesting concept. Let me tell you why we say comb. Use a word like you comb your hair. The reason is because you see so many information just flowing around everywhere, and there is no way, and for a personnel or for individual can organize all this information in such a nice and organized way. Now, how are you going to do it? You are going to rely on some platform, rely on some we call the apps or something to help you. And what are we doing that? For example, let's say a very naive example, looking for job. That's information, right? So much information flowing around. Every people just blogging themselves. Everyone is just like a god. I have so many years of experience for that. No one checks that. No one knows it's right or not. Now, and we have LinkedIn. LinkedIn is a website. Everyone can put their resume, their working education background on it. but no one knows that's true or not. Now, and they have another feature called vote. And if you check my LinkedIn profile, and you can see I have at least more than 100 people, and they vote my machine learning and big data technologies. So that's one way to organize the information flow, to let other people to verify the information you are talking about. And eventually, those information got the most verification, they will stand out by itself. So that's something like one way to organize the information. And also, like there are a bunch of other ways to do that. For example, Facebook. Facebook currently is already an out-of-date application. Maybe a lot of audience will laugh at me to say, haha, what are you talking about? Look at the share price, Facebook is booming. Why you say Facebook is old-fashioned things? Number one, I will tell you, ask your friend, your kids, how many of them are still using Facebook? Not so many. Reasons are very simple. Number one, kids are just very innovative and they want to see the new information. However, Facebook is organizing information in an old way. You post on the wall, and kids will say, no, my grandmom is using Facebook. Why should I use Facebook? Am I the same as my grandmom, 2 generations above me?
Yeah,
They're
I
not
know
going to use
exactly
that.
what you're talking about. I know you're kind of like a person, that you're for the technology development.
Yes.
But for me, the answer is that the fact that your grandma read a novel doesn't mean that you, 3 generations later, should not read a novel.
No, that's totally different concept.
Now,
yes.
Right?
But for the Facebook, that's exactly for the information
now,
flow.
The concept itself, to fight against the idea, why should I read the same novel my grandma used to read? Right?
That's
to fight
interesting.
against that idea itself is worth doing.
However,
do you think so?
I agree with you partially. The reason is, of course, that's right. Grandma may read a great novel, and the 3rd generation should read it too. However, again, back to my point, the way to organize the information should be very different. So the way you absorb the information from the same novel should be different. Grandma, they just read a fine printed book. That's it. And maybe the first time she read it, that's good. The second time, maybe a little bit bored. Or maybe the third time, she can fully understand the essence of that book. However, and we need to change the way the information flow to our new generation. We need them to absorb the information in a much efficient way. How do we do it? Now, we have an iPad, right?
Hey,
we have some other different way.
Did you go to Beijing, try to do Beijing duck?
Beijing duck? Yes.
You know how Beijing duck is raised?
No, that part I don't know.
You're in a cage, right?
I only see the dead duck.
Hold the beak.
I do not see the live
You
one.
hold the beak, and there's a nozzle here. You stuck the beak in.
Yes.
There goes one whole thing.
Yeah.
Right.
That's not a good way.
So that's fast.
That's fast.
That's fast way. Let's do our kids that way. Can we?
We can do that way, but that's not a good way.
Of course not. That's what I'm talking about. That's what exactly
we should do a more efficient and elegant way to absorb.
Yet these days, our people, these days our people really need that. They're asking for that. Okay, now, either you see a bunch of them who cares about nothing. I don't care. Or you see other group who are still thirsty for nutrition, yet they do not have time for it.
That's right.
Right? They wish to get the injection to get in a minute.
Knowledge.
To tell you the truth, it is very embarrassing. Very, 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 very super embarrassing. I'm a writer myself, right? I come across all the time friends who ask for my book and for autograph. Well, in the beginning, I just did it. Now, much later, I found out nobody reads it. They did it only for to show us a respect to you, to make you feel happy, to make you feel important. However, it is money you're talking about, right? And then the next time you see him or her, they never talk about book. Oh, I read your book. I what so on and so forth. They never mention about it. So now, the other day I was thinking about, can we create something? Let somebody using the voice to read the book for them. Since they do not have the eye for reading, they might have ear to listen to a book.
Exactly.
Right?
That's a very good way.
Or if they do not have the time, we can do it in an impact way. We can have them downloaded to their cell phone or computer in the fast way, in a nanosecond, and they can.
That's a good example
later on.
I was going to give. Audiobook compared to the textbook, that's a new way to organize information. But of course, it's not a very fashioned way. But you see, in this way, did you get information in a much faster way? Yes. But
much faster,
is this an
yes.
injection? It's
Yes.
not.
But your knowledge, your whatever, nutrition is obtained through listening.
That's right.
You do not know how the word is spelled.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's right.
So
that's
you're losing one. You're losing a huge side.
Well, one side probably lose something, but on the other side, we also gain something. So I think for any new type of business, the only way is try to keep a very good balancing point
But,
and to make sure
should there
each side is beneficial.
Or is there anybody who might find this interesting or something worth investing?
You mean like in terms of a
You
very
know what I
specific
mentioned,
business?
what I described, the whole area, the protection area.
The protection
The
area.
protection for human assets. I call literature human assets, right? Protection of our young minds, right?
Yeah.
Protection of our schools, protection about grammar rules, something like that.
Right.
So
Yeah.
if anybody is still interested in doing that kind of thing that
Well,
doesn't produce quick cash right away,
I would
right out of the hand?
I would say like for venture capital, and what we do is we want to find innovative but also effective way
Yeah,
to change people's life.
and perfect,
Exactly. Yeah.
profitable.
Profitable is, of course, one important thing,
sure,
but it won't be the only thing, like I mentioned before. So back to your question, we actually identify a lot of interesting business model, especially for education. And again, and those education will be definitely a more efficient way because currently the competitiveness for the modern society is getting more intensive. For a kid, if they want to get a head start or if they can have a potential competitiveness to other people, certainly they need a more efficient way to do it. But like I mentioned, efficient is not
But
only
for example,
should be elegant
for
too.
example, writing,
Yes.
right? Handwriting. I'm talking about
Handwriting,
handwriting,
yes.
right? So should human race totally forget handwriting?
Of course not.
No.
But I think
Okay, you look around. You put 10 kids together, ask them to write their names, on a piece of paper. You tell me, are there going to be more than five who write their names in an acceptable way, or more or less?
Of course, I agree with you, but I think that's kind of
down south,
yeah, that's a modern
That's what I'm
problem
concerned.
of the modern society.
Maybe I'm too old for that, but anyway, we're going over time.
Yes, yeah, but that's not the problem
Yeah.
of the venture capital.
Okay, even an old timer knows not to go over time though. But anyway, I wish this is not the last show that
Of course
you and
not.
I talking about this.
Of course not.
This
Yeah,
is
we
the
have
whole
a lot of things to
concept is really worth arguing.
Yes.
So I know you're not arguing with me.
No, it's
you're
not.
just looking at it from other perspective,
Of course,
right?
that's right.
So my audiences, among you might want to say something. Just write it to me. Say tellmydj@gmail.com. Send it to tellmydj@gmail.com, which is so simple. I put them together and I'll just use them on the show. I ask my audiences, my guests, every time I can, I'll get an answer for you, I promise, all right? I'm open-minded, I'm a good person, even though knowing not much, but I have much strong wish to bring the information to my audience. So thank you very much for watching, and to my guest, Dr. Lin Gu, thank you very, very so much.
Thank you. Thank you.